Round 19, 2012, Matty Primus, the coach of Port Adelaide Power. His team went down. It was in Sydney in the western suburbs, and he probably thought, this is a terrible day. Horrible. We've been beaten by the GWS. We don't expect to get beaten by a team like this, a fledgling team. Oh well, we'll live to fight another day. But unfortunately, there was no other day for Matty Primus. And Parko, I believe you had a bit to do with him thereafter as part of the coach's inner sanctum.
It hit him like a brick. I don't think that Matty saw it coming. I'm not sure whether I did either, but I think when you work up to it and you realise performances over time are going to leave you in a difficult position. And he's a classic
lovely
bloke.
bloke.
Lovely bloke. And thank God has found a really good role and doing a terrific job at the Suns now.
Yep. I saw Port Adelaide, I've seen them a fair bit this year actually, and watching them again last week made me think how many players played in that game in round 19 that played last week to beat the Cats. 14 players played in that round 19 game. So in 31 or 32 games since that period of time, they're now the hardest running, probably the best team in the comp at the moment in terms of ladder position being number one. So it's quite amazing how
there'll be Melbourne supporters out there saying, what a great stat.
No, well, it is. But it just goes to show if you get the right people around you and you create the right environment with work rate and being that your base, your effort being your base, how quickly things can actually change for you as a club.
No doubt whatsoever. They get another chance, Adam. GWS are at home to the Port Adelaide Power. Let's have a look at the Rexona ins and outs. Moons.
Yes, a couple of good ins here with Palmer, Shield, Bunteen, Green and young Kelly coming in for another run, which is exciting to see. 40 points last week. They went down to the Suns. Bit of a belting. Bit of a word going around, no mummy. No Giants.
Ooh, could be right.
Well, they do. And they look really tired at the moment. Apart from the first half against the Bulldogs a couple of weeks ago, they're starting to look really tired. Their numbers are telling you that. They got smashed in contested footy against the Suns. 72 inside 50s against, which means you're not playing team football with those numbers. They're starting to look like they're getting some bad habits back into their footy. They're going into their shell. They're not playing team football. They're playing for themselves a little bit. Parko, which I saw on the weekend. I still like the game of Patton though. I thought he was really good up forward, kicked a couple of goals, went behind the ball a couple of times. Did well there, went into the ruck obviously. I'm glad to give him Boyd a bit of a rest. His first couple of weeks obviously didn't set the world on fire, but I'd like to see him just go back and just have a good month back playing in the reserves. And just try and find some form a little bit. And Jono, young Jeremy Cameron.
Yeah, well, there's some talk during the week.
Yeah,
well, he's perforated an eardrum, so he had procedure during the week, obviously, to fix that up. We think we found the vision here where it may have happened. It happened early in the game too. So you see there with Colin Jasny, he's come in to try and create the contest of Gold Coast defender coming back there, and he hits the side of his head, and you see him walk in the rooms here, and he just grabs around that temple sort of area. So it was actually a great effort from Jeremy Cameron when you look. That happened in the first quarter with about 9 minutes to go, and he ends up kicking 3 or 4 for the game and continued on. So he's one tough player.
He was having a laugh. He's genuinely tough. Genuinely tough. Well, let's have a look at a team that is genuinely tough now, and that is Port Adelaide, Jono.
Yeah, well, they've been absolutely fantastic. Gray out of the side. Monfries come back in. Not Robbie Gray though. He's been absolutely outstanding, playing as the small forward, gets up through the midfield as well. He took about 11 marks last week in a big game of footy for Port Adelaide. Lobie was fantastic in the ruck. He's giving his midfielders first use of the ball. Went forward and kicked a couple of goals himself, but it really is through the defenders. At Carlisle was very good on Hawkins. I think Homsch had his best game of footy for Port Adelaide. So they're starting to get some consistency as well from some of the outside, the fringe type players who are really having a big impact for Port Adelaide at the moment.
Well, we talk about how fit Port Adelaide are with their endurance base and how they can run games and run over the top of other teams. But one thing I thought was extraordinary watching them was just how often they hit the target. We've got some footage here of some of their elite kickers of the footy. Pollock, coming from Brisbane, just kicks it on the outside of his favoured left foot. Now look at that, under heat. Just puts it out in front. And once again, Hartlett now, here's the third one. There, he coughs it up here, Schultze. But that is pure, that kick. Now this kick out in front, Hartlett again. They just murder, or not murder the ball, they just make the thing sing and it murders the opposition. And this one here, watch, Parko, talk us through this.
Well, he's running at the boundary line of footy and he kicks it off the outside of his left foot.
This one here.
Oh, this one's even better. They'll curl back. I mean, that's like the banana around the corner to score a goal, isn't
But
it?
it's a drop punt.
Yeah.
That is so difficult to do.
Ken Hinkley was at Geelong. He was so big on kicking efficiency. Like that was all he talked about. You know, you keep possession of the ball, you obviously control the game, and that's obviously what he's brought to the Port Adelaide.
Can anyone see this would be the upset of the season? Are we all going for Port Adelaide?
Yep.
By a long way.
Port Adelaide all the way through.